Hello, beautiful friends. I am the organizer advisor, Dr. Lisa Winfield, here to help you enhance your happiness and transform your life. Okay, so we are on day 26 and 27 talking about these 2 days together because everything I'm talking about has to do with children. So we're going to organize our kids. But before we get started, let's talk about our daily health and beauty routine so that we are prioritizing our self-care. Remember, we have started exercising every day. Sundays we kind of take that rest relax day, but every other day we started with 15 minutes, we went to 20 minutes, we went to 25 minutes a day, and now we are at 30 minutes a day. That is cardiovascular healthy for you. It is enhancing your health. I know you're feeling the muscle tone. I know it's easier. I know I'm walking 2 miles a day and at a 4 mile per hour speed, and I feel fabulous. The first couple of times it was a little hard, but now it's like, oh, that was 2 miles. Oh, I feel great. Okay. Also, we are hydrating. We are making sure that we get enough water in our system to perform all of those metabolic processes to keep us healthy. It makes our skin look better, our organs function better, we have more energy, we're more focused. So make sure that you have your hydration beverage so you can be hydrating while we talk. All right, so we also are taking time for stillness. We started off with 1 minute, we're up to 15 minutes. We're just taking time for meditation, prayer, time in scripture, nap, nature walk, whatever works for you to calm your mind, calm your body. So we also eating clean. We're starting to focus and make conscious choices on taking food into our bodies that is for nourishment, to nourish the cells of our body, not a lot of processed foods, reduce sugar and carbs, so that we are enhancing our health from the outside in. And then lastly, if you take vitamins and supplements, remember to do so if you subscribe to that practice. Now, we also have our scheduled health and beauty routines. I'll just quickly review. Monday is facial day, Tuesday mani-pedi, Wednesday deep condition hair care day, Thursday white and dental health day, Friday facial day again, Saturday is our outdoor fun in the sun, fresh air, sunshine with family, loved ones, and pets. We exercise, we connect with nature, we get fresh air and sunshine. That is so good for us. Then Sunday is our rest restore, and it is our day that we get our little prep steps so that we're prepared for the incoming week. So now let's talk about organizing our children. We have one more bedroom to do in our every nook and cranny cleaning component of our 30-day transformational process. We've done the primary bedroom, the secondary bedroom, and now we're going to do the third bedroom. And I saved this especially so we can talk about organizing children. Okay, so all of the things that I talk about here, there is a video in the playlist on the YouTube channel. Go to the Organizer Advisor, go to the playlist. You can do the Every Nook and Cranny cleaning your child's bedroom, or you can do the Organize to Utilize, and it's going to talk about everything here a little bit more in detail so you have more information. So now let's talk about organizing our children. This is really important so that our children stay organized. It's really, there's a lot of research on how a child, particularly children with ADHD, function better in an organized setting. So it's really important that we keep our children organized. They do better in school academically, and the thing that most arguments are about in the home between parent and child is the upkeep of the bedroom and the bathroom. So helping your child develop a system and a framework to help keep their room organized is going to help them function better. They're going to be more relaxed, and it's not going to be so overwhelming when you say go clean your room. Lastly, it's going to improve your relationship with your children. I guarantee it. So let's talk about how we can do this. Well, we can use the Every Nook and Cranny cleaning compass rose strategy and focus on one wall a day. So if the bed is on we start with the north wall, east wall, south wall, west wall. If the bed is on the north wall, wash the bedding, flip the mattress if you need to, but make sure you clean out everything under the bed. Clean bedding helps the child sleep better at night, just like it does you. So, however, if you need to clean the bedding, fluff the pillows, make the bedding inviting, comfortable for your child. All right, and then go through the whole process of, taking everything away from the wall, cleaning the wall, baseboards, windows, woodwork, closet, everything on each specific wall each day. Now, our children have a plethora of items because their items are different than our items. So oftentimes children have toys and books and games and stuffies, and of course their clothing. So let's talk about each of these one at a time. I'm going to give you just a quick strategy on how you can clean them, but again, check the playlist. You're going to see videos on how to do all of this in detail. And I also have some before and afters of some rooms that I've done for children, restructuring rooms and making them a lot more streamlined and manageable. Now, the first thing I do want to talk about as far as management, too much stuff is too much stuff. If your child has too much stuff, it is the same amount of stress for them as it is for you with too much stuff. If their room is cluttered and overwhelming, they suffer from stress. Just like when your house is overwhelming, you suffer from stress. And that stress often ignites into arguments. A calm, organized home doesn't inspire as many arguments as a home where there's lots of clutter and people can't find what they need, and there's the stress of always seeing things that need to be done. This is actually one of the main causes of marital arguments, is clutter, disorganization in the home. It's the same thing with your children. Disorganization in their rooms or in the home in general causes them stress too. So how can we help manage this stress? Well, the first thing is too much is too much. If it's overwhelming for them, reduce the amount of stuff. Now, my favorite strategy is to get 4 bins. The size will determine on how much stuff your children have. So for each child, or if you have children that share a room, I divide all of their stuff into those 4 bins. Each bin gets some toys, action figures, stuffies, books, whatever. But the bins are labeled week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So at the beginning of week 1, the first week of the month, they get week 1 bin. They play with all that stuff in that bin, and then at the end of week 1, when they clean their room, all of that stuff goes into the bin. I take it, sterilize it, clean it, put it up, get out week number 2 bin. Then they have all that stuff to play with week number 2, but it's not all of that stuff in all 4 bins, which is overwhelming. This gives that new and novel feature. They haven't seen some of those things for a month, and so it's like, oh, I haven't seen that for a while. I really want to engage with that. So it has a higher engagement of the items that you purchased, and that's what you purchased them for. So this takes away an enormous amount of clutter and overwhelm for your children. If you need to see that, there is a video in the playlist. Please check it out. It's very helpful. This is a strategy that works really, really well for keeping your children from being overwhelmed. Okay, so next, let's talk about toys. All right, so your kids can have a plethora of toys. There's a way that we want to clean these toys and sterilize them so that when we put them in those bins, we put them away, the germs don't sit there for a month and then they reappear when you pull out the bin. I like to use my Listerine spray. There is a video on cleaning children's toys. So these kind of toys, I can just have a bin with Listerine water and I can just put them in the bin. It's going to sanitize. They can be dried or air dried. But it's really important with young children's toys because they pop them in their mouths so much. So I like to sterilize baby toys often. But for young children, it doesn't hurt to sterilize their toys when they go in the bin. I use Listerine water. You can use hot soapy water. You can put them in a laundry basket in the shower and run hot water over them. Whatever works for you. But cleaning your children's toys is an important way to keep germs from spreading or re-emerging in your home. Okay, now here's a caveat. These toys, these little electronic ones, they don't do well when you put them in water or the shower. So these, I use my Listerine spray on a soft cloth and I just spray and wipe them down. Sanitizes the surface, kills the germs. You can just put these right into the bin after they've been sanitized. Now let's talk about stuffed animals. Now these can go into the wash. Now it's a couple of caveats on stuffed animals that I wanted to mention to you. When you're dealing with young children and you get stuffed animals, you need to be aware of some of the safety hazards. Some of these stuffed animals have these plastic eyes, sometimes a plastic nose, they may have plastic hands. These are choking hazards for children. Of course, that plastic, it looks like candy, so they want to put it right in their mouth. And eventually those threads erode and those eyes, nose, plastic parts can come off and can be a serious, serious choking hazard. So if you're dealing with younger children, you want to make sure that your stuffed animals have sewn-in eyes, sewn-in nose. This is also very important for your pets, because if you were to give a stuffed animal with plastic eyes and your pet chewed this part and those eyes pop off, they too can choke on these plastic parts. So just a really important caveat when you're talking about kid stuffy. Now, I throw these into the washing machine and I put them on warm water. I put a little bit of fabric softener in, and then I toss them into the dryer and fluff them really nice and dry, and then that way you can keep your children's stuffed animals nice, clean, and fresh. All right, now let's talk about board games. I like to have family game night, so we have some board games. My grandson likes to come over and we play games, but let's talk about board games. Now, if all the pieces aren't there, it's clutter, because nobody's going to play a game that doesn't have the pieces. So particularly Monopoly, of course, has so many pieces. I like to make sure that the game is in ready to use condition, but I like to keep everything, all the pieces and parts together. The money, I just paper clip, divide them, and then the little parts and pieces can go in this tray. If they don't have a tray, I use the little Ziploc bags. Then you have the little cards. I put a rubber band around. But you get the gist of it. If all of these pieces are missing, the game is clutter. Use it as a craft project, because it's not going to do very well. Now, I clean those parts with Listerine water. Just dump them in, soak them, dry them on a dish towel or paper towel, and then put them back into your game. As far as the game boards, I use my Murphy's oil spray, or you can use furniture polish, and you can clean the game boards. It'll make a nice sheen on the game boards. You can also use that on the cardboard boxes, because on this laminate gives it a nice clean feel. It makes it shine. It kind of makes it look clean, which is inviting. Okay, so gather your games and have a fun family game night. And at the end, when you're done, you can go ahead and clean all those pieces, put everything in Ziplocs, and even like Yahtzee, I even include a pen, so I make sure that when I go to play, I don't have to find one. I have everything there. So get and here's a fun game. It's called Farting Frenchies. Perfect for somebody who likes Frenchies. Same thing, you just want to make sure that you have all the game pieces. This is just game cards. But when you have all the pieces, it's fun. But if your children know the pieces are missing, they're not going to use the games. So turn it into a craft project. All your card games and everything, make sure you have all the cards there. Just put them into the box and those ready to play games. Okay, so let's talk about books. Now, if your child has a lot of books, bravo. There's a lot of research about books in the home and academic achievement. So it's really important. Can you tell I was in education for 30 years? Um, Books are really important. Reading to your children is very important. But books can be overwhelming too. So if your child has a lot of books, that's great. Use the 4-bin system if you need to reduce the amount so that the room isn't overwhelming. But we can clean the books. And here's just a little tip that I used to use when my children were little. They're in their 30s now. But I used to read, they would pick a book, we would read the book. I would clean it just like I clean the adult versions of books. I used my Murphy's oil solution and spray onto a cloth, and I just wiped the book down. But I would put a little sticker, like a little gold star, on the inside of the book, and that would tell me that we've read that book together. And then that book would go into a bin, and then we would read another book. So that way I knew that we were reading all the books, and that would be our read aloud time. Now, if my child particularly liked a book and didn't want to put it in the bin, of course that book was able to stay out. And of course, if they wanted to reread a book, we could do that. Now, you could house your books on a shelf, you can put them in a bin, you can put them in the closet, whatever works for you. But that's just a little quick tip from somebody who really believes in reading to children. So, and also books are one of those things that children put their hands in their mouth. They may be eating a snack, put them on the book. You will be amazed at how much gunk comes off the books. When I was teaching in the classroom, I would clean my books at the end of the year. All of my children's textbooks would be clean. It was shocking to me, and that's why I then transferred that to cleaning my children's books at home, because of the amount of oils that get on the book from your hands, and especially with children who often touch their mouths and then touch the books. I'm not a germaphobe. I just don't believe in germ transference, especially if you're dealing with little children. My son had reactive airway disease when he was little, and so he couldn't have a lot of germs. So we had to make sure that the toys, the books, as much of the things that he touched could be sterile until his immune system could mature a little bit. So it's near and dear to my heart. Okay, so we've talked about toys, we've talked about stuffies, we've talked about games, we've talked about books. Now we're going to talk about clothing. Now, your child's closet can be tremendously overwhelming, just like yours. So the same strategy that we use for streamlining our closet works well for children too, called the rainbow closet. It is so easy for them to find the clothing in their closet when they're organized by color. But there's a couple of caveats. Oftentimes children have dressers where you have the folded clothes. Make sure those drawers are not overstuffed, and let me tell you why. These actually came out of my grandson's room, who are 13. He's 13. These were in the bottom of his closet. He's never going to wear this. Never going to wear these. You wouldn't wear them. So right now, these are unusable. And a couple of these are expensive. I think this one's I know this one was like not a Burberry. No, that's not it. One of his shirts was Brooks Brothers. Anyway, you spend a lot of money on your kids' clothes, and just like you do yours. And if they're left in this kind of condition, they are not going to wear this. This is wrinkled beyond wear. Wrinkled beyond wear. You wouldn't feel good wearing this, and your kids aren't going to feel good wearing this. So this is one of those things that sadly you're going to have to take out the iron or put it in the dryer and let some of the wrinkles come out, but you can also iron it. But at this point, unless it's ironed, it's clutter. So when we talk about having kids' clothes in wearable condition, this is not wearable. And we need to kind of factor that in as we're focusing on creating a clothing system, a clothing management system that works for your child. If they don't go on, if they are not easy to hang, they're not going to be hung up. If the closet is overstuffed and there's no room to put more clothing in, the clothing are going to end up on the floor just like this. So my suggestion is schedule some time with your children, go through the closet, create the rainbow closet, and then I use the yes-no method. I just stand there, hold it up, yes, no. If it's a no, it's a no. Don't try and convince them to wear something they're not going to wear, because they're not going to be comfortable in it. They're not going to be confident in it. I don't care how much money you spent on it. If they're not going to wear it, it's clutter. So I hang it up, I hold it up, yes, no. It's a quick yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And you will be amazed at how many of those items your children are going to say, I'm not going to wear that. And that's okay. It might be too tight. It might be tight in all the wrong places. If they're not comfortable, they're not going to wear it. And it's just keeping their room from being clean because it's cluttered. So give your children the opportunity to tell you, if they're at that age, of what they're going to wear, what they're comfortable in, what feels good to them. Because if they feel uncomfortable when they're in school for 8 hours, 6 hours, they're not going to learn as effectively. And you know what that feels like when you're sitting in something too tight at work or something that pinches in all the wrong places. You can't focus. So go through your child's closet. I suggest going with them, go through with them. I like to have all the clothes facing the same direction. I like having them organized by colors. Yes, there is a video on that. I'll see if I can link something here to it. But when you do that, it helps your children be able to access and utilize the clothing that they have before they outgrow it. So that's another thing with growing children. What you thought would fit them 3 weeks ago may be too small. So just listen to your kids and yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. This is also going to give you very important information for future shopping for your kids. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about today, organizing your children. We're going to talk about the paperwork. If your child has paperwork from school, I have a whole video on creating an at-home binder and helping the child establish a binder at school, and then one that mimics that at home. And check out that video. But that's going to be your children's paperwork as far as school paperwork. Also their all their like medical paperwork and all of that goes into your filing system. Keepsakes, I have a whole video on those refrigerator, artwork decorations. There's a great couple of strategies that I have to manage your child's keepsake artwork or certificates or important documents from their lives, memorabilia. So I think I'm going to end it there. So let's take the next 2 days, however long it takes for you, to help you get your children organized. Please check out those videos in the Organized to Utilize in every Nook and Cranny cleaning. There's lots of information, great suggestions, more detail on how to help you and your children get more organized together. This is the Organizer Advisor, wishing you health, happiness, and harmony. Until the next time, I'll see you then. Bye.